Obviously, we know it was somewhere around here.
Yeah.
I see it a little still. Yeah, I still see it.
Yeah. Now you got to get in the right light.
You think you took it out?
It took most of it.
Good.
Definitely made it harder to see. So now you can see what, in comparison to the other ones, this one does get.
And again, if you can run that machine, we'll put whatever pad we need to underneath. You can do any of these things we're talking about. It's just the machine.
And as we continue step 2, we'll get a little bit of it more as well.
Marty.
But we see that we just brought down the floor to about an 800. So by looking at 26, 25, 22, 20. And now with the step 2 and step 3, we're gonna bring it right back. And then once we see the final step, we'll see how
Would you mind
much.
Swing that out? I'm going to get that out of your way.
This one right here?
Yeah, give it to me.
So with the home look,
I don't want you falling.
we always got a
I
steel
didn't
tile.
actually.
Say that again,
wrap
what?
this
So with
shit.
the home look, there's
Uh-huh.
customers that want the home look,
Right.
and we always have to seal, especially now that it's honed. It's gonna turn
there's
a little darker, correct?
No.
We have a sealer that could enhance the color.
Uh-huh.
We
But-
have one that's not going to enhance it. It's up to your customer.
It's all waterproof, right?
Yes.
Water,
They're all
and we
great.
have one that's water and oil.
Yeah. But you said have to twice.
Yeah.
I see it when I get paid to see it. So if they're going to hone it,
Yeah.
by the way, you're opening up the stone. Put some water in it. Put a little bit of water. You'll see how porous it is. And that'll help you sell the product.
Yeah.
The sealer. You got to get the approval first. But yeah, or you can be the guy who
That's a
is
little
$1 more
section.
a square foot. It includes all of that.
Yeah.
You go to deep clean, seal, grout joint. So it depends on who you want to be. I
Explain
just
it.
want you to know. Because when you come to buy a sealer, we're charging you.
I-
So you want to make sure you
I
you
seen the bill.
include it, or you want to be or you want to be the guy who includes everything. And there's room for both.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So we're gonna hop now on the step 2 again. We're gonna get it to about a 3,000. Does anybody want to hop on the machine?
Everything you get a 5% discount.
What was that?
You do everything, you get a 5% discount.
Absolutely. Right. And the funny part is, here's the other part, and I'll show you guys a little bit later what I do to help to sell. But after you talk about it, your customer says no. Okay? Fine with it. But you sign right here. It says that you refuse to seal because of the same day. That's
When you drop red wine on it.
But
It
yeah,
whispers.
and I say that because I'll tell you my story of how I kind of done. I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Before we leave.
You dropped the olive oil on the
Right?
Yeah, I'm gonna say all the parts to sell. I got it because he showed me something. I was like, yeah, I've got to have that.
Yeah.
Is this the same pattern or a different pattern?
Oh, did I not switch it? You're right.
No.
Totally forgot to switch it. Good. I was talking about the step 2. Didn't put the step 2.
I'm not done before, so somebody else get the machine.
Good catch.
It's the same machine.
Okay, this thing is Renata, this thing is beating me. Yeah, I can't undo the cord properly. I just didn't want anything to fall over. It was right at the table.
Good step 2.
I'll move the cord. I'm gonna move type 5. Now, did everybody fill out one of these forms?
Yes, they did. I accept him.
Because what we want to do is make sure you get. I mean, we're gonna have that class. I'll send you the reminder. Yeah. Do you have the other sign-in sheets, Pablo?
I think so. Don't know where I put them, but I know I grabbed them.
Okay. I'll put this on the table. Add to it. That bucket's perfect, by the way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct. Just putting water.
Yeah, that's how I got married. Let the diamond do the work. Shoot, I woke up married. How'd that happen, huh?
Hey, sure did happen. I'll back that one up.
Hey, but you know what though? The bill went up. Life got easier. That's right. Adding some travertine, Pablo. That would not be a bad idea, huh?
That'd be good. Yeah. You can show the zooms on work.
Just travertine, period. But yeah, whatever you like. I think you can put another. Yeah. So, the truth is, we're gonna have people just put chairs on, the marble if we needed the space, right? You're an elite.
Yeah, elite step 2. As we get to the finer grits, we'll see less and less powder because we're cutting less. So the first pat's gonna generate more of that.
Do a real good time wise, brother.
Thank you.
Thank you. Not too much. Just get started right now.
So with this particular pad, same things.
Yeah,
Pass
6 to 8
first.
passes.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's something you'll get a feel too. Once you walk into many houses, you'll understand, oh, this floor requires this pad, and it's going to take me this amount of. So, like anything, you can stop, vacuum if you don't see that you're where you want to do it. You go a couple, yeah.
You can elect to get multiple paths and higher traffic area.
Yeah, there's certain.
Less on
Like he was saying, he might hit the the 3-step on the whole floor, but he's gonna focus on the other stuff. So, and you'll really see that with the diamonds when we hit restoration, where we're really only gonna focus on the damage area with the heavy grits, and then we'll start feathering out so that we are matching everything. So, I'm gonna do one more. Does anybody want to hop on the machine with this one?
So because these pads have the diamonds blended into it, so how often do we wash them and rinse them out afterwards? Do we rinse them out automatically, or do we just leave that stuff on there because it is a part of the pad?
Good question. I would use something as soft as a hose and rinse it. Yeah, because you're looking at 7. The diamond is not going to come out. It's held within a resin. So if you had a candle, you liquefied it, you threw diamond in it, and then it hardened up. That's what the diamond. So the diamond, when you erode some of the candle, you show some of the diamond. That's what's happening.
So no
That's
pressure
not going to
washing.
come up.
No. And the important
When
thing,
it's gonna like that is me. You're gonna blow all the diamond off.
the one thing that's gonna be very important when you're doing this, you definitely want to vacuum it. You don't want to move the excess around because that's the grid you're working on. So you're gonna.
I've had people, I'm not gonna vacuum. They same water.
Because all the residue that's from the step 2, so as you move to the step 3, you want to make sure all that is gone.
So what is the best for that to clean up the residue? Straight vacuum or a hydro?
Somewhere in between. So
At a 500 psi rinse?
put it this way: we want to get far off the ground, water off the floor. So they might not have a pressure washer. So that's fine. But if you have one in one unit, okay, sure. If you go too high, it works against you by blowing out. You have no idea what's up. So what I think is not to use it. So you have this thing here, which is, I know that half power level without air power.
So we can step in.
Your diamonds suck. They scratch my floor. Send me a picture. Well, the floor, the scratch is in a straight line. I'm like, well, the pads spin. Let me see your vacuum. That's exactly what they did. They put blue tape over a hard metal extracting vacuum. So
Not smart at all.
You need a squeegee attachment.
And we were at a 20 something earlier. Let's see where we're at.
24.
It would help if I turn it on. So now we're at about a 60. This one's 43.
You'll get a difference from stone to stone and from color to color too.
52. So we saw about a 20 to 30 improvement on this one. And then now we're going to hit it with the step 3. It's going to be our final step for the DIPs. And that'll be about an 11,000.
And something to think about too. You notice how there's some reflectivity here on this number 2.
Mhm.
So let's say you go to a job and you see some of that. Okay. One of the reasons I want you to do a sample, one is to make sure they're happy, you're happy, everybody gets paid.
Yeah.
Money's worth. The second thing is you want to know where to start. Something at that level, you'd walk on with the number 3 pack because what if it worked?
Yeah.
So as we show you those 3 steps,
No, show the.
we need
show
to
the
say,
back to the camera.
hey, you don't have to use all 3 steps. We're
Yeah.
showing what it is. Every job's going to be different. So keep
Step
that in
3.
mind. Because on the other one,
So-
we do the diamond work. We take all the steps, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then I had somebody, oh man, that's a lot of work. Well, yeah,
Now we're going to use the step 3.
you don't have to. Most of the time, it's going to
Yeah.
be in this range.
Yeah.
Just know.
Yeah.
Just know that.
Does anybody want to use it? Run the machine, take all the credit?
I know, right? What's Fernando?
Question: what if we have some porcelain tile that's shiny and reflective, but the customer got scratches on it? Can we use these pads to take off the scratches,
Good
or
question.
are we just going to mess up the porcelain tile even more?
Not going to want to use this.
No.
There's a certain type of diamond, and we actually just saw some samples in about a month. We're going to start to offer a. It looks like a sandpaper disc, but it's diamond. And it cuts. It looks like you sprayed diamond on the screen.
Oh, yeah.
And it takes out scratches and it left it. It's perfect. So, but it's for the hand tools. You need to focus. You need to, you're going to have a lot of
Precision,
small
steady.
scratches. You do, because really what you're doing is you're polishing glass.
Yeah.
So that's that's coming up. To do the whole thing, and there's not a lot of those types of floors. There are, because they're slippers. People that are.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good question. It's going to be more specific and smaller for scratches, but good question. I do have a customer that uses one of our diamond pads, the Zoom, for cleaning ceramic. Because the ceramic that he's working with is that texture. It's in a bathroom, so I imagine it's just filthy. But the texture on some of that ceramic tile, so you don't slip, diamond cleans right in there without scratching.
Really?
So there's a time for it. That's what he does, and those types of finishes that are rough, they're not polished. So even by chance of a scratch, you wouldn't know.
And it works.
Oh yeah, it cleans stuff that he couldn't get off chemistry. Yes. You have to take it off. We can take it off with the diamonds.
That's the
So
next
when
step.
we do the diamonds, we'll put a scratch just for you.
So this is
This is the final step, the step 3 of the diamond impregnated pad. The about an 11,000 grit. Usually where you finish. As you can see, we're not cutting as much. That's why we don't get that much powder. Now we're really just polishing.
But the
Well, what-
pads, there's a pad that you don't use no water at all, right?
No. When we first made the video for one of the Zoom pads, it talks about using it dry. That's don't do that. I shot the video.
Yeah.
With Rob, and he had success with that. He mentioned that in the video. problem is him having success is one thing, but you do them dry, shorten the life, can have a smear that transfers, and those pads are complete. That pad is thicker. It's stiffer than the Zoom pad, right?
Yeah, they're little.
The Zoom pads, they have a limit to the amount of RPMs. They're just flimsy, like you said. So, and like if you put them on a burnisher, they would melt. So there's literally an RPM speedometer. They only want you to go so fast because they won't melt. So let's just say that I'm not telling you.
Sounds good.
See the results of this. Really, that's all you're looking for, right? And the damn thing with food dry, it just grabs everything. It's so hard to work with.
Yeah, it's stiff. It's like trying to scrub a carpet with a floor machine with no water.
Yeah, with those bonnets.
Yeah.
Bonnet, oh, that's hard work. Look at the water that's kicking off. See how it's hitting other areas and rolling?
It's curling.
It's curling up. Good. I didn't even think of that, Jared. See how it's curling up? Write that down. You know why it's doing that? Because the surface is so tight, the water is not just soaking right in. But it was when it was honed, it was when it was open. So that's how tight we're making it.
Yeah, I did notice that. That was nice.
Knock it out. Okay.
And this process is just so therapeutic. Like, you don't have to go to a therapist.
Just listen to the machine.
Just
and
relax.
stuff.
Play a little music.
It was funny. I think you know a story about that too. There was a guy. We ended up hiring him for a little older guy. Been doing it forever.
It's part of the
Good
bill
with
now.
one hand,
Therapy.
and he had, so we're talking politics, right? We're going back and forth. I've known him for a while. And he said something, wow, yeah, I hadn't heard that. He goes, yeah, they just announced it this morning or something. He goes, I'll do a job. I go, okay. He goes, yeah, I do a job. He puts the diamonds on, he puts the headphones on. He was listening to news all day. So I was like, yeah, I'll just KNX or something. Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's good call. He's on it. But yeah. But the other side too is being therapeutic is one thing. Learning it's the other. The simplicity of it is what we really are going for. So if you can run the machine, you know what I mean? It's like a
And
whole
these,
skill.
once you get used to the machine, you can replicate it very easily. You can have your new guy hop in with the pads, and it'll be the same thing. He doesn't have to worry about getting used to the powder or anything like that. So
Exactly right.
you couldn't hear me? All right. Let's see. So we're gonna check out what we did with the step 3. We're gonna see what the results are. Compare how much we brought it up from step 2, and
the
see
white-
if we got rid of the etching. Because as we go higher on the polish, that's when you see more of the imperfections or the damage that the stone has. So we'll
that white is a little bit of the calcium and a little bit of the stone. Look at that. The temperature of the water, does that matter? Hot, cold?
we use tap.
Yeah, clean. Pretty clean. Because I've done that before too. I had a class ready to go, and somebody was nice enough to do the water for me. I had it there when I put it in the tank. They did the water. The bucket and the bucket with 3 in there. I had to empty everything. Right. Yeah. Because you're
Okay. Let's check it out.
Adam Peter. Yeah.
So you can see,
But yeah, the water.
and if you stand here, you can compare the reflectivity that you're getting on each one. If you notice here, the light as your reference point or light right here from this angle, if you see that one compared to the middle, compared to the crystallizer,
Okay.
now you see
Yeah.
what each system is capable of. Obviously, that one took more time. You're going to be charging more for it. You're going to have to do 3 steps in a lot of the cases. So you want to make sure you price it accordingly.
Time is money.
3 times the
Time
price.
is money. Speaking of time and money, maybe go check on the price.
3 times the price.
And we had the etching somewhere here. It's hard to
Yeah,
see now.
Yeah.
It's looking pretty good.
Okay, there's a shine on that one with the 3 pad system. Can you put the EMP powder on top of it and get it more reflective?
You're gonna
Or you're just gonna dull it out or just not do nothing with it?
there's a chance you could. I wouldn't. You either finish with either your powder or your step 3. It's not gonna be that big of a difference. You can see it here with just the powder. It's not that much more like shiny. You can do it. I mean, some people they'll wait after and they can even put a crystallizer, but you have to wait for the floor to dry and do that. You can get a little bit more of a pop. But with step 3, you'll see it with when we do the restoration. We're gonna take it up to about an 1800, and then from there we're gonna either go powder or step 3. And so those both are finishing ones. Once you do the step 3, you don't really need to do the powder. It's gonna be equivalent.
Before we put the sealer, do we Swiffer it with the a microfiber blue mop, or do we get a whole mop and clean the residue off of it that's on there?
Good question. Let's ask Mark on that one. But Swiffer it, what is? I mean,
Just
Swiffer broom.
Yeah, just Swiffer it clean afterwards. Yeah.
Get the certified.
oh, you want to make sure. Yeah, you want to make sure it's clean. So yeah, you can pass either a microfiber or even just like a new pad. Just take off the residue. Just to
Yeah, if you're
empty.
gonna clean before you seal, make sure it's dried up.
Yeah, so
Completely, right?
you can use it.
Then put your seal on.
Put an air
let
mover
it
on there.
sit, and then hit it again with another clean microfiber. Get rid of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Looks good.
while he's checking on that, we'll start talking about the restoration. So obviously here we're processes that didn't go into full restoration. Now that's what we're going to touch on next. Full restoration, we're removing heavy scratches, heavy etching. With that, we're going to use the diamond the diamond on top pads. These are these pads right here. These I just grabbed this about a 220 grit. The fact that it has the diamonds allows for a flatter cut, which is how you're able to remove that damage. With the,
Yeah.
it's gonna take a lot longer. It is a longer process, which is why you want to do what he said, $4 to $5, $6 a square foot, depending on how much you're doing and what the area is. Now, with the diamond on top pads, the dot pads, your lower grits are going to be the one that are removing the damage. You're going to be using your 50, 120 to 220, maybe some 400. That's removing. After that, 800 and 1800, you're polishing. So most of the time, when you go into an area, like I said, through working, you'll have an idea what kind of floor you're walking into, what kind of damage it is. If you don't, that's what you use your sample for. You can get on your 7-inch and figure out which step to go to. The rule of thumb that we like to recommend when you're going to an area, if in doubt, start on the higher grit. So if you're not sure, but it looks like maybe it could be a 220 to a 4, or maybe just a 400, start on your 400. The reason why is if you can get it with the 400, then you're done. You save the step of doing the 220. If you start with your 220, you might have been able to get away with a 400. You just buy yourself that extra step because whatever you did with the 220, now you have to do the 220, 400, 800, 1800. Most popular, you're going to walk into floors like we had it at the beginning where it has some damage. If it has some etching and scratching, you're probably going to do 220, 400, 800, 1800. And then you'll finish with the step 3 or the powder, like I said. So we're going to start with the process 220, 400, 1800, and then go to step 3. And then we can do, if we have time, we can do the powder and we can compare the two different ones to see which one you guys like better. Um, like I said, in anything you can always go lower. It's easier that way. And the biggest thing on these is when we go to an area, you're gonna notice that the damage area is usually gonna be the main traffic area. It's not gonna be the whole thing. So like I mentioned earlier, we're gonna focus our heavier grids, the ones that are removing damage, on that area. And whatever we start at, we'll do that step. We'll do 6 to 8 passes. But the first couple steps are the most important when you're doing restoration. And there's really no rule of thumb. Like there's no such thing as 6 or 8 passes. What it is you're gonna do your 6 to 8 passes. You're gonna vacuum and you're gonna assess. And you might have to do that 2 or 3 times, depending on the damage. You might decide to go lower because you decide, you know what, I want to get it out of the way quicker. I'll just do 120, go to 220. You might realize you got it better, but you didn't get it all the way, so you do another 6 to 8 passes, depending on that. But the most important thing are the first 2 steps, because like you saw here, as we bring it up, the shinier, the more the damage is exposed. So whatever mistakes you leave behind, whatever scratches you leave behind when you're doing the restoration, you won't notice them at first when you're doing your 200, 400, because that's honed. But once you start getting to your 1800s and then your step 3, you'll see those. And at that point, you have to start all over. So the first steps are the most important. Like I said, there's no it's just you do it, you assess it. Once you feel comfortable, if it's 1 time, if it's 2 times, if it's 3 times, then you move to your next step. Once you move into the next step, let's say we start in this area right here because these 2 are damaged. I'm going to feather 6 to 12 inches on my next step. Let's say if it was a 200, then I would do it on the 400. And then once I match the floor, the level the rest of the floor is, then I'll hit the entire floor. So let's say I walk into a floor that's looking about an 800, kind of how we had the one at the beginning. If I start here on a 220, I'll do 220, 400, and then once I hit my 800, I'm gonna hit the whole thing because now I'm matching the floor. So once I get it to the level the floor is at, if it's a 400, then I just do 220 and then 400, do the whole thing.
That's exactly what I was going to ask. So because we clean areas in sections, say we clean it at 200, do we clean that one all the way up to 3,000 and then start on another area and then start that area at 200 and go on and so forth, or just clean everything at 200 and go?
You're only gonna do 200 on the areas that have heavy damage. You're not gonna want to go, if you have an area that's at 400, then you're gonna leave that to when you hit with your 400. So
Okay.
you're gonna, if you're doing this area at a time, you'll focus on the 200, 220, and then do the 400. If let's say the floor is at 400, you'll do the 400. When you go to the next area, if it's already all at a 400, you're just leaving it at a 400. You're not gonna go lower on all of them just because it's already at a 400. Yeah, so if it's at a 400, you'll hit it with the 400 to make sure that it's even. You don't want to skip that part because there's going to be some unevenness to it. So like even here, the 800, you'll hit it with the 800 to make sure that it's consistently cut. It's not, it doesn't have some areas that are better than the others. So you'll match the floor, but you don't want to go lower. You can, but if you do the 200 on areas that you don't need it, you just buy yourself more extra work and more cost. Did that answer the question? Okay. And yeah, and essentially the whole thing is when we have a scratch, we have something that's deflecting the light. So what we're doing is we're going to damage the floor consistently to match that, and then we're going to close the pores of we're going to close the scratch, and at that point, that's how we get the reflection. So that's why consistency is the key when we're restoring, okay? Pretty simple. It's, again, just water and the diamonds. The good thing also about the DOTs, so as you see here, you see it has the little Velcro things. We have those pucks that you'll see on there, which are essentially these individual diamonds sold by itself. You could use those as well, but when you're using those diamonds, you're gonna wanna have what we have here, which is a heavy dry plate. Now the heavy dry plate is about 35 pounds, and you'll have the risers. The risers are to kind of give.
You're right. The risers kind of act like
It gives you, it has some give so that it's not as flat.
So it's balanced.
And if there's any inconsistency,
right, but it's just such a hassle to do each individual one, where a pad just take it out.
and those are gonna require you to have a heavy dry plate. This one you can do with your existing. So if you have a regular dry plate, not a heavy one, you're able to get away with it with the DOT pad. So that's why people like these ones, because they can do so with their existing equipment, more user friendly, easier to replace, and price wise about the same. So
Square footage, how long do they last?
I would say it's about the same, 1 to 3,000 on marble, and it's also going to depend on your floor and what you're doing. On when you have something really aggressive, obviously your lower grids are going to last you less than your higher grids. But I'd say rule of thumb, 1 to 3,000 again. Lip pitch and stuff like that, it's gonna get away with it, and you just want to make sure that um, if you get into a thing which we have here, we have some lip pitch. You'll see once we bring it down on certain areas, it has that it has that lippage. It won't hit it. So once we cut it, there's gonna be, and I'll try to show you what we call it picture framing, which like I think this part right here will stay shiny and everything will stay will get honed. If you're gonna bring it back to a high shine, you're not worried about it. The reason why is because once you bring it to a high shine, you're really gonna try to match that thing, and once you match it, then you're not gonna notice. So if they want to get it to a hone, then yes, that's gonna be important. There's different ways to do it. You could do it by hand. You could get that's when you can get like one of those zoom pads that are more, they have more give and leave it at a hone. You can use those things to cut. But obviously, all those things are extra work, and you want to make sure that if they want that, you account for it. So when you're going to a job and you're doing restoration, you're getting rid of the scratching, the etching. If they want anything extra, make sure you tell them that's enough, another process. So when you're doing your sample, if you notice they have lippage, bring it to their attention and say, we're not gonna fix that. That's not what you're paying me for. Because if not, they'll try to get you to do that, and that's a whole different process. When you're removing lippage, now you're using semi-metals. I've done it. I did it once just to try it. It takes forever, and it gives you heavy, heavy scratches that are gonna take. You're gonna have to go down to your 50 and spend a long time with that to then bring it back. So remember setting the expectations and understanding, hey, this is what you're paying for and this is what I'm doing. You have extra things, you can do them, and we have the pads, we have the semi-metallics, the same thing as these. These have a different diamond that's more aggressive, but gonna take me longer. I'm gonna have to do more steps. I'm gonna have to charge you more for it. So that's very important to understand, and just do what I kind of try to do here. Just once you do your sample, you notice, hey, this area isn't even. That's gonna happen, and bring it to the attention. Today we'll see it. We'll see the picture framing, and our goal is gonna be bring it back to match that area, because that area is not getting damaged as we're hitting diamond, because we're going over it. So that area is fine. Okay.
Perfect. Yep. With the lippage, do they crack any of those?
Heavy lippage could. On here, you'll notice it doesn't crack it. You'll hear it. It does. You hear when it hits, but it won't crack it. If I go over the edge with this one and bring it, you can't crack it. I've done that. So you don't want to do that. I don't think we have the pad anymore. I think we threw it away. But
hey, can you do it with just 3 of those on there?
Great question. I don't think so. It will add. You need, when you're doing this, you use 6. We added 8 on this one. Reason why? Yeah, reason why is obviously to get a wider pattern. Also, these diamonds are 2 millimeter, whereas the other ones are 3. So they got more pressure per head. So that's why we're able to put more, whereas that one is 3. So I don't think you can do it with 3. I'll check with Mark when he gets you. But and let me check on the food real quick just to make sure if we have it already here. We'll take a break because it's about. ¿Ya llegó? ¿Ya está la comida? Okay, so we'll take a break. We'll do the food and then we'll get back to it because that way we'll do it all in one sitting. Okay?
Perfect.
Cool. ¿La traemos? ¿Platos? Ok. Ok, está bien. Okay, guys. So food is here. Let me bring a cart. Déjame el carro para que ponga los platos ahí, ¿no?
Okay.
Porque no hay espacio en la mesa.
You guys taking a break?
All right, guys. So dig in. You have pizza here, wings.
underneath it all, everything's actually all right. You're okay. You have more power than you might be giving yourself credit for. If you have something that's going on in your life right now that's challenging, painful, it's just a reminder to take a little bit better care of yourself. You're worth it. You can have this feeling anytime you choose.
Meet you. Mark. All right. See ya.
Alrighty, so we're gonna start with 50 grit of the DOTs, like we said earlier. This is gonna be the restoration. I'm gonna scratch the floor and I'm gonna etch it right now. So I'll focus on these 4 tiles right here. So we'll scratch it. So you guys can come up and see we scratched the floor, so there's scratches.
I believe you.
And then I'm gonna use our this is our marble polish, which is our crystallizer. If you let it, when you use the crystallizer, you want to hit it right away with a pad. If you don't, you will etch the floor. So I'm just gonna leave it there, and it's gonna etch. And then we'll get rid of that. Like I said, this is a damaged area, so it'd be a scenario where you go to a house and they had a party and it's where they spilled the wine, or they moved the couch and that's what scratched the marble. So like we mentioned earlier, we're gonna focus first here. It's gonna be our most important step. We'll do 6 to 8 passes, then we'll assess. We'll see if we are happy with the results. If not, we go over it again. We're gonna start as low as 50. So like I said, when you're out there, once you get used to it, you can gauge floors and you can maybe start earlier, but just for the sake of showing all the steps and the full process, in case you have to go all the way to the bottom, we're gonna start with a 50.
And also, one thing I would suggest, sorry.
I was gonna say you might be able to get away with 120. So on a real scenario, you test it out and try to see where you stand.
One thing you can help yourself with is when you're done with the 50 grit and vacuum it and it's nice and dry, take a picture. You know what that's going to do. And then, you're going to see eventually it's going to be finer and finer, but then you can assess, where do I need to start? Is the damage down by the 50 grit picture I have, or is it more closer to up here?
So I threw some of the marble polish to etch it with that.
Oh, okay.
A little more aggressive. And then I did some scratches. Should I go deeper on the scratches, or Mark, or they look good?
That's fine. Does that look like that's good, yeah, right? You see the scratch?
Yeah, you guys see it, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Put it this way. If the scratch is deeper, you need to work longer. That's it. So it has to do with that first diamond's going to take it out. So a light scratch and a dark scratch are going to be removed similarly. They're just going to take more time on the first one.
I do see a lot of scratches in homes right in front of the doorway. If they have the metal piece in, they scratch off the tile right. And I haven't done it yet, but somebody was telling me like you got to be careful because you could fishbowl effect, like shoot too much on one. That just gonna be a paranoid.
Yeah.
You have to like really sit on it, right?
Well, the scratch didn't go that deep, so are you trying to remember the scratch? When the scratch is gone, you can tell your friend to stop. And how do you know the scratch is gone? When you vacuum, if you still see a straight line, it's not there. You should see a consistent scratch pattern. Circular.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, theoretically, he's not wrong, but I've never seen that. Otherwise, they wouldn't make the bowls.
I've gone into like 20 homes and he's always said that.
Yeah.
This is like 2 years ago.
Yeah. But you got to remember, though, if you put the diamond in and you got a bowl, eventually you're going to get to a part where the end of the diamond's hitting the edge. I can see where that could damage. You know what I mean? But I get what he's saying, but it takes out such a small amount. I think it's about 0.03 nanometers, about the size of half the size of a human hair, roughly.
Wow.
That's how much material is removed.
Not even noticeable.
To be able to scratch. But this way, this board's been here for years. We do a class every month. We haven't got diamonds in concrete. It doesn't look like a fishbowl.
And we always focus on one area, yeah.
I mean, I get what he's saying.
Now you want to try to keep it to where that area that is damaged, But in the case that you do go over for whatever reason, the machine or just you miscalculate, it's not big deal. Just gotta make sure that on your next steps you go as far as you went. So if for some reason you go to a third tile over here, just gotta make sure that every step after you go to that third tile to bring it up to the match. Does that make sense?
And also, keep in mind that the diamonds are on the outer side. So a lot of people make the mistake of putting the pad, like the powder, right on top of the scratch. Well, the diamond's on the outside. So that's why he's doing that first.
The machines that are square, can you do that same thing with this?
I can do square scrub
Yeah.
with the zoom pad. I can't do it with the diamond. So adapting to another machine, I'm all about that. Great. Try to play with any machine, you don't have to buy our machine. That situation, we can't do that. Okay. But that's even. That's right. Plus, those machines. They have, some of them do have water tanks too, right?
I've never used them.
Yeah,
I've
square
only,
scrub.
I've only seen them, the red pads.
They do make some others that are not square round and they oscillate. Those are
Like vibrating.
cringy. And there are other machines that can use those.
Not the same.
I've not seen a square scrub successful on the diamond.
Now with these, you want to be very careful when you're done with your machine. You want to not drag it across the floor because obviously it's a 50 grit. If you drag it across the other area, you're gonna damage it, you're gonna scratch it. Now you're gonna have to fix that. So it's a little bit of a pain, but
You know what he's talking about? When he moved the diamonds in that area, he stopped it. I don't know if you recall, but earlier,
I was
especially
dragging it
on
across.
Step 3, he was running step 3 with water, and when he was done, he swung the machine over here. Well, on a real life job, he just those scratches he put now over here. But he was okay with it because it was the last grit and it was the polishing. So it's very fine. So because it's so fine, it's not going to really leave or scratch the way this does. So he's saying that when you're done with it and you want to move it out of the way, the vacuum, you move it with the machine on and you stop, now you have to all that in the same exact way.
Let it dry a little. You see, we beat it up, we brought it all down, and now we'll check it out, see if we can still see
Couple
this.
things, just I don't know, we never talked about this, Pablo, but
Mhm.
you vacuumed it up, right? Just like everything else.
Mhm.
See how it's still very, very dark?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the diamonds opened up the concrete that much more than the diamond impregnated that, so it took in a lot more water.
Mm-hmm.
We just never talked about that.
Okay.
That's never come up like that. You see how there's so much more water, and it's drying slower. That's the reason.
It absorbs it, yeah.
It's all a bunch of water. So travertine sometimes it stays dark during the whole process. Just taking in water and just like a sponge.
Just like
Hey!
sand and ground.
How
Right?
you doing?
All right.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
All the way from Belize.
Belize?
Yeah.
No.
I mean, he didn't come just for the show. We'll say he did. Did you get my email? You want to talk about it?
You guys can come here and check it out if you guys want to.
How long are you gonna stay?
Today, you mean?
Yeah.
That's the 50 grit, right?
Yeah, that's the most aggressive one.
Pizza over there?
Now, obviously, these right here are features from the stone, so those are the veins. That's not the scratches. Scratches I made were straight.
Would you say
No, I-
They were somewhere around here. Yeah, that one you can see it.
I sent some stuff to you too. When? Last night.
The other one's around
Right,
here.
Coach, I didn't know if I was going to be here.
Uh-huh.
I'm just now going through my email.
So we can go again, or we can move on.
Are they situations?
No, they're just stuff that I did.
Oh, pictures.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. We talked about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Mark,
Black
Yes.
one.
you want to check it out? You can still kind of tell, like this one right here.
Oh yeah. So
The rest of them.
Did you guys take a look? Okay, so I see a scratch there, and many times you might think, well, we should stay on it till it completely goes away. That may be the case, but let's find out. Because don't forget, every other diamond is also an abrasive. So let's leave that, and let's see if it disappears. That way,
Every other one, I have a hard time seeing.
okay. So I think that's going to completely go away. But let's find out and make sure.
Okay, so that was just 50 grit. Now I'm gonna go to our 120. If we had wanted to make sure and insist on it, so we would have done the same thing again.
Okay.
Now that I'm doing the 120, I'm gonna open up a little more. So I'm gonna try to hit a little bit more on the surroundings. That's
This diamond pad, the job of this diamond pad is to remove the scratches of the prior. So you can't skip, and if you do not overlap, you're going to have a shiny floor.
with some swirls.
Correct.
Now, does anybody want to hop on the machine and do this part?
Talk your way out of that one. You might, but who knows? My money still would be on you, but it's a tough one.
I didn't care.
Shinier.
Anyone want to? Okay, so remember, we're gonna overlap a little. So if you want to go like half a tile here, half a tile. It's a nice trick.
That's the DOTs. This is the, take a look at this right here. That right there is the shine. Well, you saw it yesterday from the 1-2-3 pad.
I'm about to.
Okay.
Not too much water.
No, you never have too much water. I mean, that's good. That's perfect. That kind of slurry is plenty. If it gets too much more water, you're gonna find yourself chasing it between the doorways or under a door. We haven't talked about some of the real life issues like wooden baseboards. So controllable water is how I like the water. I get asked it all the time. How much water should you use? Should you use water controllable? So if it's getting away from you, you have to. And if there's not enough water, the machine's going to grab and be hard to work. You're going to put water right there.
Are you counting?
I wasn't, but
I wasn't either.
I think that was 2. I think that was 2, and then up 3.
Hey, he's right. It really is therapeutic.
Am I going too fast?
Oh, well,
You're good.
yeah, just consistent. That's
Yeah, I like actually everything about it.
I think that's enough.
Yeah.
okay. So lift it up.
I was about to drag it.
And if you can just rest it on down, or I can do that. Cool. right, so that was the 120. You can check it out. See where we're at. Let's do these.
What you're looking for is you see the remnant from the prior diamond pad. In other
So
words,
we're at a
it's got
1
somewhat square, you
with
still
a
see that
120.
outline isn't going up,
4,
but it looks great.
Are you sure?
1. So, and then the scratch that we were seeing somewhere on here. So I think it's this one. You can still kind of see it. Granted, we know where it's at. If you were to walk into a place where it's
First time, yeah.
yeah, if I didn't not tell you where the scratch was, would you be able to find
By
it?
the time you get done,
Yeah.
So
Or you're crawling on the floor looking for it.
yeah,
I'm done. My customer might be, but I'm not.
Yeah.
so
God, are you sure? Hey, you sure? You can look if you want.
so now
It's right there. They find it, huh?
we did these right here,
You tell them to find it.
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
right?
now we're gonna do the 220. We're gonna open up a little more. Anybody want to hop on the machine and try the 220?
Got a little bit of, well, I don't think it has more drag. I think it's easier to work with.
Yeah, I think so.
It's just diamond.
The DOTs, yeah, it cuts. I mean, definitely way easier than the crystallizers.
Just don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Right.
So same thing.
When the water was on it, so I had to put I projected machine. I'm not.
How do you attach the water tank?
How do you? Because you can put water on it when you polish it. So what handle? Is it the?
This is gonna be your water one.
That's water.
You were asking about those. That whole piece comes sold separately.
Yeah.
We have some right here.
Okay, watch out.
Yeah, over there.
I don't want to have that. I want to have that stepping over.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You got it?
Got it.
Yeah, it's that initial kick. So, yeah.
Some more water. Make sure it doesn't grab too much.
Yeah, that safety button kind of throws me off because I got an old smart floor maintainer that a customer gave me. No safety.
So try to see maybe like right here to that line, to this line. Just kind of do a square to make it easy.
Seatbelts. I have a 64 Buick. No backseat seatbelts. No reliable.
You hit a trash can.
Let's try to get a little higher. Yeah.
I've seen people put weights on that where he's holding it.
We have the heavy dry plate, which is already 35 pounds, and the good thing about that it's evenly spread. You can add weights, right? But it's gonna be more on the motor.
When you guys are adding weight, because they don't have a heavy price, when you put the weight on the post, the pressure comes down. Sometimes that plastic plate
I told you.
would butterfly out a little bit. So I personally don't like it. Okay? Now, what you're looking at with us is that bottom heavy plate is 35 pounds. You can't really see it. When we get done, we'll let you pick it up.
Nice.
Well, that
So
one that
the
you
weight
put the
that-
pad on?
Yeah,
Oh.
that is 30 pounds.
That's genius.
That's where the weight is. So if the top machine runs around like this, the plate stays flat. Sometimes when you have the weight on top, the whole machine is heavy to pull, it rocks, and it makes it harder for you to pull power out of
Go a
it.
little higher here.
Pull a lot of
Just go the
amps.
way. Yep.
It can pull breakers. Once it
Nice.
gets this bottom plate spinning, the centrifugal force of it lightens the weight. It just starts spinning. It's the way to go.
Goes on its own.
And it makes sure everything is kept flat.
That's smart.
And in that case, you could add more weight if you wanted to, and you could do it safely because if you add, let's say you put 50 pounds, you're not going to bend that metal plate. So you're really going to truly have better down pressure. Whereas if you had the plastic plate, it would be weight and then it would butterfly it out, right?
Sorry. Go again.
If you put extra weight on this, it would be helpful because
It
we
won't be
have a
much
metal
on the
plate.
motor.
We have a metal plate, so the weight on here is truly pushing equal pressure because the plate is going to.
Got it. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
The plastic plate,
It'll pick the middle. Yeah.
so that gives you a base to put more weight.
Got it. That's what we're saying now.
and still keep it running flat.
Smooth.
Were you keeping count?
I think this. No, I wasn't. But
Okay.
Probably, I think the last pass.
I think this was 5. Yeah, we'll do.
One more.
Yeah, I'll just do one more just for safe. Last one.
I seen in your guys' videos that the gentleman had the squeegee. Squeegees it real fast
Yeah,
to see if it's a consistent.
yeah. You know, those really awesome.
The gentleman.
Just called me a gentleman.
The gentleman. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a gentleman.
Oh, that's you in the video?
He's an officer and a
That's a
gentleman.
lot younger than a
Yeah,
lot
you're
younger.
famous, dude.
That's a lot younger. Those were probably 15 years ago. On the ones doing the floor, we did them out over there. Remember?
That's before it's been all over the store.
You know what? Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Long time ago.
And then just rest it in there.
So the overlapping is always
Yeah, on a real job, you have one person do it so that it's all consistently cut. You don't switch person. Sweet, sorry. Oh, this one's wet. That doesn't help. What was this one? This one's also wet?
or you can just leave it.
Yeah.
It's dry. You're wetting it. It's dry. Brother, really good job.
So that was the 220.
Scratch is done.
Now we're gonna get to a 400, which is equivalent to like the hone finish.
I thought that was a scratch, but it's not. It's part of
Nah.
the stone.
I
Because they're
know.
not straight. They're like,
I know for sure that's not because I know where I did them. And
yeah, it's like, awesome. I'm in your way. Okay. Let me get out of the way.
all right, so now we'll go to the 400. It's gonna be this pad right here. And we have them by colors, and it's pretty easy to know. But they also have it in the back,
Just if you forget.
just in case.
Hey, you.
400.
The system is similar to others. The diamonds in the front are.
You want to try the machine?
Yeah, there you go. We have a 50% discount on all the Stoker products today.
And so we went up to here with the 400, so we'll go up somewhere around here. And then we'll go about halfway here, okay? So halfway, or even the whole tile, and then this way.
Yeah, look at that brown off there.
So up to like here, around here. And then kind of close to the edge here. And same there. If you want to focus on one area and then we'll have somebody do the other area, that's fine too. You got the water. And then remember, you got to pull the pin to do the...
Got it. Do it all.
Alright, there you go. That initial cake's a little bit of
Yeah,
a...
it catches you by surprise.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially when you're pulling the thing, you got to like really...
And this pad actually doesn't stick as well as the other one. I find that when I turn this one on, it goes. It starts spinning right away.
There you go.
Run it.
That's that lip right there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about.
And that's when we blame it on the installers, right? Man, they messed up this part.
Well, it's the only way that you can have it uneven. Right?
And when they're hollow, is there a difference on how we clean it, or just the same thing?
That's a good question. I think that's part of a bigger picture. Okay, when I am walking the job, you talked about the grout. You asked about cleaning the grout, and I was like, no, right? So those are all things I want to know firsthand. Second thing is, when you walk the job, or if you don't walk, make sure you walk the job. Yeah. What you want to do is you want to look at the grout. So see grout that's cracked, some that's maybe broken. If you don't bring it
Perfect.
to your customer
That's
beforehand,
lipids right there. That.
the machine's going to make it worse.
Yeah.
They're going to look at that and they're going to say, you did this. Okay? So, walking the whole job would be a good idea to determine what kind of situation, how the ground. That being said, might also, if you have a golf ball, you kind of run a golf ball, you bounce the golf ball off the floor.
Yeah.
Because when it hits a hollow spot, it makes a different noise. So you can tap it a little bit.
Yeah.
But if you have an area that is hollow, there's a good chance that it's already broken.
Oh.
Right? Because maybe somebody walked over it.
The damage is done.
Maybe. But just to that point, you may want to say that be aware that if installation is poor, or you have a situation where they did not put enough thin set underneath the hollow spot, it makes a funny noise, but even worse, it'll crack. Machine, it's kind of a violent process. I don't know how good the installation is, so we're going on the fact that we believe the installation is good. Yeah. But if you have a crack or something developed, I can't recall. You might want to mention the grout, because here's the funny part.
We did one, two. This is the third one.
You tell your customer. Let's say you go and you see a piece of grout missing, or it's cracked in a few places, right? Maybe it doesn't seem like that. But if they're cleaning the floor every day with water, that water gets in there, goes through the grout, it can start to deteriorate the thin set underneath. But look what water did to the Grand Canyon. If it stays long enough, it's going to wash that away. So,
be like water.
Be like water. You get anywhere you want. But what I'm saying is, these are potential problems that are always worth, especially if you walk the job and the ground looks like mine here, not a crack in sight, pretty new installation. Mentioning it would be a good idea, but not the way it is for a self-defense, sort of a protection mode that you should get into on most jobs. But you come across them like this, it's kind of worse. But they're not all like this. Grouts are stained, lousy, cracked. You never know. Even the tiles could have cracks, and the process could make it worse, but it's not your fault. So your fault would be not bringing it up. Your fault would be not identifying the problem beforehand.
Not informing the customer.
Yep.
And as soon as you put your equipment on there,
so shoot the messenger. If it believes they use real good.
Yeah, I'm not going to believe.
Right?
I was gonna say that.
That was just maybe he said it's all beaches and everything.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure it's tough in some areas. Yeah, they mess around.
Walking around in their speedos. Nice tan on them.
The footwear they wear are slippers?
That's
work footwear is like chocolate slippers?
Yeah, chocolate.
All right.
It is.
I can wear shoes. Drop something on their foot, then they'll start wearing shoes. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
If they're those shoes on, they will sometimes putting on the shoes.
Wow. Yeah. Is that by choice or because they're that poor? Or is it both?
Both. Because they will, if they come in the chocolate, they're using it for bigger dips. So if they come in a nice door, they'll take it off and then.
Chocolate? The word chocolate?
Yeah.
I seen a dude fix a radiator barefoot. He like repair it, take it apart, put it back together.
forgot to throw our trash yesterday until late. And I remembered I walked out in a pair of socks that I have that have a little rubber piece on the bottom so they don't fall. I have hardwood. I walked out in that. I stepped on a rock and all the side. I can't be walking around in Belize apparently. But yeah, a lot of barefoot they prefer. I mean, different. Yeah, it's just a different culture. Different culture. But I'm sure they're, I've seen a lot of areas like that where the walkways are very, not a lot of rocks in the way. I think started. No, walk all over rocks and stop at whatever's there.
Get hard. Multiple layers of skin.
Right, yeah.
They can walk on the street at 1 o'clock.
No problem. Yeah. Nap time.
Exactly.
Now keep in mind, I like overlapping,
Okay.
but that job just got 4 times bigger.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Which is fine.
Actually, as we talked earlier, it's kind of put me to sleep. It's like
Oh yeah.
Yeah, wasn't it
very
4
calm.
tiles?
Yeah.
But you know what though? I take that back. No.
We're at 400.
No. We were always gonna do what we were gonna do. We just incorporated the square. We never said we were gonna just polish the square.
Yeah, no, we're doing the whole floor.
Yeah. So my bad.
I think that. How many was that?
27.
No. How many was that? ¿Cuántos llevas ya? Passes? 8. Okay, that's the one. All right.
It's good though. It's thorough. Overlap properly and everything.
We'll put the bucket back here. There you go. So this is 400.
You'd have to get down like this, but you want to make sure that you look because if all of a sudden you get a heavy scratch, you rather know now than later.
So we started at a 1 when we did the 120. Now we're at 11, 14. Here we were like at a 3 or 4.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not cheap.
They're like 200, right?
I think mine was 7.
Ooh.
I was wishful thinking.
So you have.
And this is the picture framing I was mentioning. That's what we're gonna try to get to.
Pay for it. I'll take a look.
You see that?
I could be
You
mistaken.
see that little shine
There's some that are
bar? That's what we're gonna get back
like
to it.
1,200
So
bucks.
if we were gonna leave it hone, we would hit it with like a DIP or something to bring it
But the
down to
reason
a
they're,
hone.
they're so good is
Which
because
is right now it's at a
they do
400, so it's at a
angles.
hone.
The ones that are expensive,
But since we're gonna bring it back, we're not gonna worry about that, and we'll just match it.
Yeah, well, match it.
Have you ever tried to put it on the brick?
No.
So we're getting some color to it. Don't really get any reflection yet. So after, whoop, no good.
Yeah, let it go, let it go. You're not in the customer's house.
Wow. Time machines? What kind of material is that?
And this red is in the stone already, right?
Wow.
What's up?
That red,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, it's part of the stone. Yeah. So 800. Let me make sure. It's the 800 next.
Wow. What do you have to do?
Yeah, but
That's great. That's hard to do to find people that know how to do it like that. How long did that job take you?
like 6 weeks. But we won't
So
go
we'll do 800 next. Anybody else want to run the machine or get on it again? Get more practice?
Remember, space, you have limits.
All right.
So you look for more than everything.
good.
Can we use these pads on terrazzo?
Mark.
Terrazzo is a marble based, well, it's either cement or resin based, so they really mix it in. So, let's say the redstone, I'm either a red dye, resin, or red concrete. They mix it up, all those redstone, white, pour it, and grind it clay. But if I give you that picture, yeah. So,
They grind it in clay?
I'm gonna do a red star. They make metal out my template
Yes.
of a star, or in the red concrete, and they grind it in place.
Is it like epoxy?
It can be. There's two types. There's cementitious, which is like cement, and there's resin, which is like epoxy. So they make two. Resin or more at least older school concrete rather than
Yeah, I've seen those in the old port buildings and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was online and I see people with a big machine like that on countertops.
They can.
You could be done?
You could. We also have countertop machines, so you don't have to do that because this one kicks a lot. So the other one doesn't. It's an oscillating machine. Works with a 7-inch, two 7-inch hair. I mean, two 7-inch pads. And we have the pads that are for quartz, for marble, for granite.
How big are the heads of the talent?
7-inch. So he's got two of them.
So you could cut 14 inches with one pipe. That's very important. It's not a big machine like this cut down and throw on the countertop, but
And in January, that's the class we're going to be doing. So we'll do countertops. We'll use that, and we'll use the quartz, the granite, the marble pads. We'll touch on all that. So be on the lookout. Well, I'm sure we'll be sending emails, and then also we post everything on our website, on our on the resources and training and events. So we'll have the calendar go up there as we get closer to the dates.
Were you guys just out there at Cathedral City at Meg's?
Where?
yeah,
Cathedral City in Meg's? That's where I'm from, the Telebel.
had a small countertop event.
Yeah,
So
I was busy
small
that.
meaning with a table, our sealer, talk about powders. I think David used some of the Zoom pads, not these, but the Zoom. Just to measure the interest. We were thinking about putting a big class here, but that's going to be one. Our rock tool is don't worry, our rock tool
whole stone throw. So we sell to distribution, so our rock tools they distribute. So classes we want, but when we do it with another distributor, basketball or whatever they are, things like that. So I think that was about the class was about $99.
Oh wow.
Probably a little more detail, more longer, obviously. Maybe it's lower kilowatt running. Trying to do here nearby. Over there was a much broader spectrum, but it's hard to you know what you want.
Yeah.
It's hard to listen about something else.
I get it.
So that's why like countertops. We need countertops. So we got this. We got another one. Are looking at these ranks. So we're trying to focus on. Because we've done a lot of wide spectrum classes, and try to keep everybody's attention and everybody have the same.
One thing that's out there.
If you're a stone guy, you want to do floors. You're all here. You're like we are now. We're all pulling in that same direction, the same question. Somebody goes scatters a little bit with a bigger class. But we did do boot camp. We had 3-day classes. We've done.
I've seen that online.
Yeah, so we've done that. So Rob keeps wanting to do more, but I tell him I don't think we're ready for it.
6 years, 6 times a year for 6 years. That was just the corporate stuff, huh?
Yep.
All sorts of things. Yeah, there's all sorts of cool things. Yeah.
You get an IICR.
Funny, there's an IICRC class. I'm an IICRC certified assistant trainer.
Oh, nice.
I don't want to be a trainer. And I don't want to. I just don't.
He just wanted a patch for his shirt.
Yeah, I want to make sergeant. So
You can't put that on your business card though.
So the class done by Robert Falzone, a friend of ours, and Let's Tow Truck on for 20-something years. He used Stonebrook products during the demo, video, stuff like that. But the IICRC is the ones that have 3 other manufacturers, so and others in their whole thing. But there's questions and answers, and yeah, you're certified for stone tile and masonry. That's just yes, and class. One next week. Vegas.
Oh, can't do that.
I mean, Vegas. I thought you were gonna say I'm in.
I got family in Vegas. That's why it turns into a whole big ordeal when I'm in Vegas.
Well, actually, hopefully before the playoff game starts.
Nice.
What playoff? What game?
The game you watching?
Mountain West Championship. Boise State.
Oh, who they play?
Las Vegas. I know.
You're gonna be favored. They're ranked number 22 in the country.
But we're
Number
11.
11.
Who is?
Boise State.
Dude, get it together, Mark.
Boise State.
Boise State right now is the number 4 seed in the national championship. They win tonight, they're a 4 seed.
They're number 4 seed.
Yeah,
They're first round bye for the national.
It's in line to get a well,
I asked the wrong guy about football.
He'll win it.
Didn't they make a
After the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Some of Boise State.
You know, we beat them up pretty good last time we played. So we'll see.
You gotta make up for the Chargers, huh?
Now,
You gotta make up for the Chargers.
but they're on our home turf, though.
His favorite team is he's a Wisconsin guy. So he's into college football. I didn't know they were ranked.
It's been an exciting season.
Yes.
We like the good old days, huh?
Yeah. So yeah, we'll get a first round bye.
Yeah. And then play the winner of Arizona. Well, Wednesday, the winner of Arizona and
Unfortunately, they're going to follow the number 1 seed bracket, right? So if they win and one wins, then. But they played Oregon tough.
We play our first game
They
with
played
Oregon.
tough.
And
They
we
got to a
play
field
pretty
goal.
good.
Wow.
Yeah, Oregon. It's like, oh my God,
Check that. I didn't know that story before you.
they play tonight at 4.
Yeah. Ready to go. Yeah.
Oh, the ticket prices were like pretty high. You're really cool, that's for sure.
Wow. chimney out there. Oh, no.
So that's our 800. That's our second to last step of the DOTs before we jump to the final step. And I think
we mentioned earlier, if we hadn't, I want to do so again. We talked about knowing what the grits can do. You saw me get down on my knees and look at them. I want to know what it's like because you don't have to use every single step. You want to know where to start and get a feel for it as you see it. So let's say the 400 was your starting point. You're at 4 steps to get that high law. It could be 4, 8, 18, and then we're going to finish with that step 3. So keep in mind where you're sitting here and you're watching it and you're wishing you were already in Vegas, you're going to remember that you don't have to always do every single thing. How do you know that? You're going to put the step in the floor. Oh, wow, yeah. He said his ICRC card goes back to 94. And you know what's the best part? That's a typewriter. Laminated, too.
so. This is the 800. You guys can come in and check it if you want, just to get an idea. It would help if I get this off. We're at a 15, 16, 17, 28, and then 30. So we're getting there. Now we're gonna go to
What's the
the
number at there? Is it synced up right? It should be, huh?
88.
Can I see that?
You can see that. All right. So last step of the DOTs is gonna be the 1800. And with the blue one right here. Okay.
What chemical agent would you use to clean up like your vacuum parts with all the slurry that's on there?
I don't know. WD-40 would probably be the best thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I say that because once you do it, it actually really kind of bounces off.
Okay.
Just don't use it on the rubber at the bottom.
Anybody want to run the machine? The last one of these.
But yeah, you can wipe that.
All right.
Wipe all the metal down. And also,
You got plenty of water? Yeah, you got plenty of water.
there's an amount of silicone that's going to repel water.
And as I'm not sure you've noticed, but as we get higher, also less slurry. We're cutting less. So this one.
So I'm doing the whole thing, right?
Yeah, just a.
Sounds good. Said less water, right?
Just want to be controllable again. You don't want it to push around too much.
I think we're calling Stone Brothers Farm. Yes. Well, Forest Pro is the one for St. Travis, correct? Forest Pro has the highest amount of solid. Others go worse. Travis as well. That Pro Sealer has 15% solid. Forest Pro has 12%. You have a good step. Forest Pro or multiple.
And this is the last step you're going to want to use on the resins. You're not going to want to go higher than that. At that point, it's more resin than diamond, and you're risking getting that resin smear. So from here, that's why we go after 1800. We go to the 11,000 on the DIP. You get that, since it's such a fine grit, you get that flat cut, and then it just cleans it up. Yeah. And then, but yeah, so that one you don't have to worry about the resin, so you can get higher on the grid. And that's the finishing one. Or from 1800, you could go to a powder as well, if you're comfortable with that, or if that's what you have. So there are options.
What you want it to look like. In other words, we have some top coats you can put. There's probably one that apply to it. So we have a powder added finish, so you don't want it shiny. But that's probably the best one. It's called Cobalt, and it runs about $2.49 a gallon.
And there's some people that once you see 1800 will give us some reflection, that might be enough for them, and then you just leave it at that. So it really depends on what they want.
It's really going to be something that holds up against the organic acid that is in the tool. That's about the only thing that I can help you with because of the status and situation. It has acid to it and it's breaking teeth shattering. How are you so cold?
Right here? Oh.
Fall asleep. They're all saying the same thing. Yeah. Then you'll be fine with force. As long as the water's not bouncing around on there, you'll be force. I've been in Florida. Well, those are two different things. I'm saying Forest Pro is our best sealer for travel. Your issue is not related to sealer. In other words, you're telling me you have black mold and you want to sealer. I'm telling you you had the best.
I did not. Did you?
10 times over.
I think I'm good.
Okay.
Side of the wall that was made. You know how they spray some texture on there? If the water gets into the texture, it's going to rub. So sealers are not.
No, my bad.
Take it out. Don't think that it's going to save. I know it's hard to do. So you're going to have mold, right? Unless you look at a product and that's what. Don't think that sealing stone is going to treat old road areas before you just gather it.
All right, let's back him up. So that was the last step of our diamonds. If you get up, you can see now we're starting to get a lot. We get some reflection.
The mold is not a situation of
I don't know if you can see from where you're at, but we're starting to get some reflection.
Yeah, wetness. So if you have
It's not clear yet, but it's got some.
even
Can I see that real quick?
if you had glass,
And now we're at 24, 22, 34, 51. So we're getting up. From here, we're gonna jump to the step 3, and we can just do a little section. Don't have to do the whole thing. Just do like 2 rows. You can pick these 2 rows right here, make it easy in the middle. And then if you guys want, if we still have time, we can try to see the powder. So got 26 minutes. So from here, we'll go to the step 3. This is the 1800. So that's the last one you want to do of the diamond on top. After that, you're risking resin smear. So then from here, we'll find our step 3. Same one we used before. And then this will be how we finish el 3, step 3. So that's about 11,000 grit we're going to finish with. ¿Quieres acabar tú? Okay. No hace falta que lo hagas todo. Only these 2 sections right here, like 1 and 2. And then we'll compare 1 and 2 with the powder if you guys want. And then we'll call it a class. ¿Tiene agua? ¿Sí tiene? No, ya está. Yeah, you put some water.
But then most spots they call them quads.
pottery.
What's in there?
So what is a quaternary cleaner that I would pick?
There we go. Mill grow.
You got it? So yeah, just pick 2 tiles and 2 rows of tile.
Quad. Okay. Beethoven stuff. That has an anti. Here we go. That's a good one. That one's good. They sell 4 of them. Perfect.
penetrates, but then you can overlap.
First, he had one. That is part clear.
It should, they should have, and this is back. Well, right.
How do I know?
Yeah, I have some of this stuff. So this I can just spray on the floor with the
Hawkshair Extreme with a Hawkshair pad, with a burnisher or the just low speed, either one works. This one just takes longer, but
This is,
9 passes. ¿Ya? ¿Llevas 9?
they said,
Okay, so ya está.
It's about that time. Where? I got it. So that is neutral.
by that time my wife wanted to work, this is not my situation. I'm not usually. But this is right away because she was first, second.
¿Qué pasó?
No necesita el primero y el segundo, más
¿De qué? De esto no, porque ya el 1800 es más alto que el 1 y el 2. Entonces, como ya usamos los diamantes, no hace falta, si no estaríamos bajando.
yeah.
Entonces ya. Esta es la alternativa si pagan para una restauración completa. Obviamente los diamantes son más caros, tardas más. Okay. We'll vacuum that out. Okay, so that's our final step, those 2 tiles right there. If you can see it from your seat or if you want to get up, you can compare it to the 1800 here and you can see both the difference on one side to the other on reflection.
Was that the,
Step 3, that's it.
nice. Let's run the black a little bit more. I think we can get more.
Okay,
We already vacuumed everything, huh? So,
yeah, we can do it.
yeah, let's put some other people on there. We'll put it this way. We had a little bit blacker I think the last time we. Yeah, let's run it a little bit more. That's good though.
Or do you want to see the powder finish with the 1800? So that's what we're going to do.
Go ahead, do it. Do the powder with the 1800.
Do it. You got 18 minutes.
So we can finish that up. We'll do the
I'm gonna take a break and still knock it out in time. As I don't get up from my
You want to do the powder?
Yeah,
So yeah, just pick maybe 2 here, leave 1 in the middle, so that way we have the space and compare it to.
The 2 in the middle?
These 2 right here. That way we know these are the 2 step 3. And then let's just go here, 54, 66, 64, 56. And then we'll do that with these. And you guys can compare. Of course, I already closed it. Let me get something to open it real quick.
this footage.
Hey, you into it at your own risk. That's good. That's more than enough.
And those two right there, right?
There's 2 rows, right? Up and down.
Mhm.
Or
You start on the edge.
Do you
outside
still?
edge.
So I'll probably walk that way or this way, whatever.
step on the side that doesn't have a table.
I just don't want to step on that.
You're gonna pop that up anyway. The guy who put his cord. Nice.
I know. That's
I know,
nice
that's-
trick.
Everybody on your video is gonna say, "See that?" I go, "That's it."
So we do this quite a bit, right? We play around with
Yeah.
stuff. And everything. We're just here.
Well, I didn't almost choke
And what do we
myself
notice?
out before.
And what do we notice? What do we notice? Look at these guys on top. Look at that. The floor looks great. Everything popped up. No, this belt thing is.
You know, you learn something new every
You learn
day.
something if you're lucky. Yes, you do. Like Boise State's ranked number 11. I didn't know that. Look at me. The farther away from your body it is, the harder it's going to be to work. You're going to use all shoulders. Yeah. You can step on that
Yeah,
polished
so-
floor, you know.
Stuck on that polished floor.
Yeah, you did. That's fine, yeah.
I'm a big fan. Once it's clean, you don't step on it.
Clean your way out the door.
Yeah.
Smart. That's how they do it.
I was lifting weights this morning, so
What was that?
I was lifting weights this morning, so we're good.
Yeah, for lunch. I love that. That looks beautiful. Crawfish. Okay. Wow. Nice. So my guy wants to get a call wanted to what you're looking at. Right. One product. Yeah. Right. Is it gonna prevent it? No, it's not. It's not magic. It's made by Stoneford, not Jesus. I can see myself arguing. Between now and June.
Which one are we on?
That's what I was saying. Yes.
How many did we do on that? 9? Yeah, let's just match the 9 and then call it a. That way we compare it. Alright.
Remember when you want to get off, I would run it again, put more water so you can loosen it up so he can vacuum it easier. Run it one more time, more water, and turn it off to the right where you didn't polish.
Where it's clearly off?
Right, so you don't have to step on or leave the machine sitting right where you polished it. One more water, loosen it up, bring it back to the white.
Get those shoes dirty.
So now we have our step 3 or EMP.
You see how you have a little shadows on the right side there?
Yeah.
If you had ran it longer, that would go away. You see how they have swirls there on the right? That's what we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
And you see that was also the product as you were taking it off the machine. So.
And remember, this middle part is the one we didn't touch, so that's an 1800.
They both look good. That looks good too.
So that square right there, smack dab in the middle, that's a mirror.
Yeah, that is nice. So I think, you know, if you're doing the work and, you know, do you want to have another person to vacuum to get that much better, or is that going to be the winner? You know, it's preference. I think you got to remember that some of the damage that prevents it from looking perfect is going to be in the lower end.
Yeah.
So your higher end of how you finish is good, but it's a part of it. So in other words, the first time we did it didn't look that good because we had damage and we had rough floor beforehand, but now that the scratch are gone, you see it. That's how you get that mirror-like finish. So if you're looking to get a better finish, sometimes it's because you need to go lower.
Yeah.
But you know, it's good that you did the powder. Now you have a choice. You know.
Yeah.
If you're doing the work, you probably do the powder. But if you're hiring somebody, if you bring a guy with less experience, you want to keep him on this for a little bit.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Until he gets.
Because I don't need to clean up splashes all over the place.
Right. Chasing him around. You're like, man, that's twice the work.
Yeah.
That's good.
So go ahead and have a seat. I'm going to finish up here. You want to show the
sealer part?
Sealer? Yeah, show the
Okay,
sealer.
so we got 10 minutes.
Hand machine. We have a 7-inch. That's a good question. What do we do around commodes, wall, shower?
Yeah.
We have a 7-inch hand machine.
Microfiber? Or
Sure.
yeah?
You gonna ride on the boat with it? Just sit inside it.
Mark.
Well, once they send me that email, I can do the compliment.
So weird.
Fat. Big old fat guy that walks by there looks just like me.
And then the bits themselves to do the 400.
You want to talk about the differences first? The different kinds? Mark, you want to talk about the different kinds first?
Go ahead.
So, right here, we have the different sealers that we carry. So, obviously, once you've done a job like this, something that you can do to upsell your job and to secure that it stays like that.
I would go with the Pro Sealer on the marble, right?
Force Pro?
I would go with the Pro Sealer.
Pro Sealer?
Pro Sealer would be used for marble.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
travertine, I would say.
okay. So, we have different kinds, essentially depending on what you're looking for. These are going to be our top of our line right here. The Ultimate Pro is going to be mainly for your granites. That's because it's made of nano particles that are smaller, so they're able to fit through the denser stone. If you're looking for something like travertine, like you said, something more porous, you're going to go with your Porous Pro. And then for marble, we use the Pro Sealer. If you're looking at quartz, the thing with quartz is you have to be careful what you put on it because some of the sealers actually damage the resin part of the quartz. So we created a guard that is actually good for it without damaging